Okay, let's cleanse again the POs, the introductions. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hello, yes.
Okay. Okay, for of you, I'm a new friends. Maybe as the I will change to the landing a region is only for the 1 years. Before we go these regions, we had to work for the pre-sales departments. So maybe all of you or I'm the new friends. Now currently we take over the Ukraine and Peru and only the few country in the Latin Americans. So okay, let's go on our today's presentations for the Midea V6 series introductions. I think most of you have already know this product very well, but it doesn't matter. We will give the review to this product. As many of you know, this year we will launch the new generation of VRF. So today we will get a review for the V6. Then in the half years when we launch the new generation VRF, you will have a more clear and understand what is the big difference between this generation of VRF. Okay, these presentations have the main three parts. The first part is some the basic introductions, just like the product layout and the operational region. And the second point is for the kit technologies and the selling points, just like we call the meta technologies and the Gen Airs. The last part is some made features, just like why our systems is so is in installation and service, and why our VRF so high reliables. So okay, let's go through this all the comments step by step. The first page is the product layouts for the compatible models V6. The competitive range for the compatible model V6 is from the 8 horsepower to the 19.6 horsepower. And the home to layout of the V6 is in 2 horsepower increments. We can see here we can the competitive is from the 8 horsepower to the 32 horsepower in the single units in the single ones, and we can allow to combine the maximum the 3 single unit to 1 refrigerant systems. So the competitive can up to the 19.6 horsepower. It means that we can combine the three piece the 32 horsepower units in one system. This is the way we have the largest refrigerant system can up to the 19.6 horsepower. Also, the 19.6 horsepower is the largest single refrigerant system in the world. So maybe you have a question to ask why we always say that we had the large single refrigerant systems. So we can get a simple to think about this. Okay, when we imagine this, there had totally a building had 20 floors, and the capacity range is for each floor is the 192 horsepower. If you select after the brand VRF, just like this appearance, I think most of you can recognize this. Even with delete the logos, maybe you can recognize what is the brand for this VRF according the appearance. For these buildings, each floor is the requirement for the 192 horsepower. For the Midea V6, we can only select the 2 systems as with the maximum for the one refrigeration system is the 96 horsepower. So we can only use 2 sextants. For the other brands, maybe you should select 3 or 4 sextants. So when you installation these sextants, the footprints, the other brand will be the more than the V6. Just like this. For the other brands, maybe can occupy is about 30 square meters. For the V6, only the 10.1 square meters. Not only the saving the installation price, for the cost, as may you know that each sextant will have the separate refrigerant pipings. So when you have the less the refrigerant systems, that is means the refrigerant pipings is less, because for the each system should be had a separate refrigerant pipings. Okay, this is why we said we had the largest one sextants in the world. This is our the benefits for the V6 combination the modes. And for the individual modes, V6I. Okay, one moment. Maybe you have some questions. As you note, V6I and V6I. What is the difference between these two series? Today we only discuss the top side discharge. So this is the V6-I. For the V6I, this means the side discharge. This is for the side discharge. This -I is means the top discharge. So today we just only talk about the V6-I. For the individual V6 series, we had a same the capacitive range as the combined mode. It's the same from the 8 horsepower to the 32 horsepower, and totally the 30 modes. And thanks to we had the more begin capacity for the single modes. That is the same meaning we can save cost and footprints when you use our the V6Is. Okay, we have discussed this before. And for the operation range for V6, we can for the cooling mode, we can reach from the -15 degrees to the to the -6 degrees. But the -15 degrees should be the customized. And for the standard, the range is the from the -5 degrees to the 14.8 degrees. And for the top the degrees, you can customize to the 15.6 degrees. This is the tropical applications. I think tropical applications is the most used in the Latin regions. This is for the cooling mode. For the heating mode, the operation range is the -25 degrees to the 26 degrees. I think this range is the full cover the all the applications in the Latin regions. And for the system pipings, we had a total piping can up to the 1,000 meters. What is the total piping length? We can see this picture. The total piping length is the light. Here is the main piping. To add each the branch pipings. Here is means the total piping length. And the longest actually piping length. The longest actually piping length it means the May piping length and the longest indoor unit. This is the longest actual piping length. So what is the longest equivalent piping length? Actually, when we calculate the piping length, we normally in the actually piping length, we didn't consider the branch pipe. The branch pipes. We don't consider the branch pipe. But in the longest equivalent piping length, we should consider the branch pipes. Normally, we can think each branch pipe is equal to the 0.5 meter. So this is why have the two measures, and the long equivalent piping length is the bigger than the actually piping length. And for the longest piping length after the first branch, if we can think about this, here is the first branch pipe, and this indoor unit is the longest. From the first branch pipe. This length should be less than 90 meters. And when the outdoor unit installed in the top, we can have the 19 meters higher difference between the outdoor unit and the indoor unit. If the outdoor unit in the floor, we will have 110 meters between the indoor unit and the outdoor unit. And for each indoor unit, the level difference should be the less 30 meters. Sorry. Okay, the next part is for the connected indoor unit numbers. This we have the bigger the capacity for the single units. So we have the maximum piece in the unit for the single unit. From the 8 horsepower to the 32 horsepower, we can see the maximum number of the indoor unit is increased. For the minimum, the single VRF, we can connect to the 30 indoor units in one outdoor unit. For the bigger ones, for the beginners ones, we can connect to the 15 series indoor unit to one outdoor unit. And for the ratios, we can allow from the 50% to the 130%. The ratio means the totally indoor unit capacity divide the totally capacity of the outdoor unit. Since we VRF adapt to the old DC the design of the DC the compressor and the DC the fan mode, so we had the wrong range for the ratios. Okay, for the indoor unit size, we provide over the 10 models and totally the 12 the type in the indoor size can meet a lot of the different kind of the indoor unit indoor size, and can meet different the decoration of the indoor. For the fabrica set, we normally use for the narrow and the long the waist. And the wall mount we normally use to the back room, and the cassette and the duct we normally use for the meeting room or the dining halls. Okay, for the indoor size, we want to talk about the DCs. The DC is the more efficient than the ACs. So not only the efficient, we also had 7 fan space for the DC indoor units. For the wall mount, we provide the 5-step the lowest controls. It can meet the different requirements. And for the wall mount and the cassette, we can turn off the indoor unit display in night. It's here. To make sure you have a good surroundings when you sleep. And also we had the 0.3 degree temperature settings is the more the pressure controls. And for the dark series, we had the 20-step controls for the ESPs. So for the DC series, it's the very advanced technologies built in our units, so we can meet a lot of the different requirements and the variety of applications. And for the special indoor units, just like the HU means air handle units. We had the HU kit can allow you to connect the AHU to our VRF. Not only the Midea brand AHU can connect to our VRF, we also allow you use the other brand, the subhard brand HU to connect to our VRF. Thanks to we had the AHU kit. For AHU kits, last years we had launched the this 2 modes to allow we had more wire capacity range for the AHU. And today after tomorrow we will get a detail the introduction for AHU kits. So today we only get a simple introduction for this part. And another special the indoor unit is the flash air. The flash air can provide flash air and also can have the increase the energy savings, as we had heat exchanging built in the flash air units, just like here the elements. This is the indoor size. Here is the outside. The return air from this port to discharge to the outside from this point, and the fresh air inlet in this point, and separate from this point. So they will have a heat exchange in the elements. So the flash air will have the cool or the heating by the return airs. So the flash air will be the more close like the return airs in the temperature. So this part can save our energy saving. For the flash air units, we can stand with the G4 filters and option for the F7 and the M5 filters. You can also select the CO2 sensors. These all available. We can also have a different wire controller and the centralized controller, and also can connect to the BMS. And for this one is the very useful for the healthy air solutions. This we call the pillow air kits. This one should be installed and dark work when you design the projects. And in the beginning, you design the projects, we should think about this. And for the PCO kits, we can the installation to the existing the projects. That is means if you have some projects already installation or the unit and the downwards, you can select this one to inside this part to the downwards and connect to the powers. And this PCO kit can work with your existing the sectors, but this one can be work with your existing projects. If you want to use this one, you should be the think about this in your beginning the design. These two units is the same the series. When they kill the vultures, they all use the UV light to kill the batteries. And for the controller solutions, V6 VRF can connect to the individual controls, just like the individual wireless control or the wireless controller. We also provide a group control. Group controller, we had a 120G and can up to control 16 units in one group controllers. We also have a lot of the gateways like the backnet and the motor bus or long walk. And we also had the network controls, just like IMM and IM Pro. So like it was this one. And we also had the talk screen centralized controller 10.1 and 6.2. And last year we had launched the new one for the 7-inch. So we had the 3 typed talk screen centralized controller. And for the IMM and IM Pros, we can allow you to connect with the light and fan and pump and all the sensor and the third-party electrical meters in one system. So you can use our IM or IM Pro systems to control all the electric parts in the rooms, not only the air conditions, or the light and the fan or the pump and others. And also had the digital power meters. You can connect the digital power meters via the OA point of the outdoor unit PC boards. Okay, the next part is some the kit technology and the selling points. The first part is the subcooling. What is the supercooling? The supercooling is means the here you had another one more heat exchange. And for the V6, just like the older generation VRF or the other VRFs, normally they only had the one stage out of heat exchange. So when we had the second stage planned heat exchange, what is the benefits? The first is we can get the refrigerant pressure loss reduced as we when the refrigerant gas goes through the indoor size. More the proportions of the liquid go to the indoor side is more bigger. Then the equations will more the better. So we use this the second stage plan point and the accessory EXVs. Here we go back the part of the refrigerants. Part of the refrigerants gas. This part will have the lower temperature than this part. So this part, the refrigerant gas, when they go there, you can get the lower the temperature and get the more the proportions of the liquids, and then go to the indoor size. And for this part, the refrigerant go back to the compressors. Compare with the blue ones, the blue line ones. Here the temperatures is the more is more low. So we can have the less the lower the temperature discharge of the compressors. That is means we can have a wide range, the more wide range. So the second effect is the lower the refrigerant flow noise. When we had the more the proportion of the liquid go into the indoor size, that is means the refrigerant flow noise will be more lower. And the third part effect is the better the refrigerant distribution in the multi-indoor size connections. That is the means the proportion of the liquids will be the more than know the second stage the plan block exchange. Okay, from the this page, we can know that here A, B, and the display is the A, B, and go display and the E, and then this one is the normal the refrigerant cycles. Since we had the supercooling and use the enhanced vapor injection the technologies, we can make the refrigerant cycles can go to the A, B, C, D, E, G, H. That is means this part is the square, the area for this part is the bigger than the normally cycles. This is for the cooling capacities. As this part and is in the EXV of the indoor units, and this part H2A is in the indoor size. So this part is for the cooling size. And since we from the E points had the subcooling, Here we will have a part of the refrigerant go back the compressors. So the compressors, the discharge temperature will be the less from the B and the less back to the C, and the D is means the discharge, and compare with this point is had the less the temperatures. So it's that we can have the compressors can have the more the wide range. Can also have the systems can run in the more stable in the more the maximum the let me see how to say it. It means that we can have a wider operation range for the cooling and the heating. We can see this page. Compare with the older generation V6 Plus. Since we had the enhanced vapor injection technology and the subcooling, we can note the V4 Plus. The V4 Plus operations, the range when the outdoor temperatures is the less to the maybe is the 7 degrees. The capacity of the V6 Plus had the obvious the decrease with the outdoor temperature the decrease. But our V6, they can keep the sense as the normal until the about the minus 10 degrees, and then just only a few degrees when the outdoor temperature go down. And from this page we can note this to the EVI technologies. The V6 will have the more stable and wild operations range and more the efficiency. Here is an other features for the V6. We call the Meta technology. The Meta is the we give a name for the VR6, but in the market, in the VRF industries, we call this technology is the flowing evaporators. Is the flowing evaporated temperatures. What is the means for the Meta or called the float evaporated temperatures? That is means that we can imagine this. We want to set the room temperature to the 20 degrees. When we start the air conditions, the room temperature is the 25 degrees. And during the air condition runnings, the temperature of the room will be decreased to the 20 degrees, as with the set point is the 20 degrees. So let us to think what is the differentiating for the different units. The first is for the V6. The V6 we didn't have the float evaporated temperature functions, so we call it is the fixed evaporated temperature. So and the beginning to open the unit and get the set points, the evaporated temperature of the V6 Plus is keep the same. It's keep the same. But for the V6, we can know that at the beginning, the evaporated temperatures will be go down quickly to let the units get the bigger capacity output. And when the temperature of the lung, the near the ship points, the evaporative temperature will be increased. So that means the evaporative temperature is the out of the adjustments. So our unit is the temperature of the lung is the change is more smooth and more comfort, more comfortable. And the V6 we can have the higher infections. We had a text in cities we call the Hangzhou cities. We had the stadiums. The area is about 330 square meters. We use the 1 V6 plus units for the 16 horsepower and one single unit for the V6 16 horsepower. We setting the average temperature is the 28.6 degree in the summer, and oh sorry, here is made 23.7 degree in the winters. Compare with this section in the same place, we can have results. Here the green ones. The green one is the V6, and the orange one is the V4 plus. We can say that the green one is the less the energy saving, less the energy cost compared with the orange one. So we can, after the simulation, the results, we can get the result is the V6 can have the energy saving about 31% compared with the V6 price in the same capacity in the same place. Here is the radar projects. The next function is the Zhen air. The Zhen air means the more the comfort and more the flexible. The first part for the Zhen air is that we had the different level the swing flows is for the one mount, and for the four-way cassettes we had the full directions flows. We also call it the 316 degree flows. And for the cassette, we can the independent control for each part. As the four-way control, the four-way cassette had the four directions to the air outlets. You can customize the different panel to the achieve this function. For the you can control the each panel in one the four-way cassettes. For the Zhen air, for the more comfortable is the 7-speed. A 7-speed to provide comfort without notice under the LV inductor conditions. And also we had the follow me functions. The follow me functions is normally used for the route is the motor hairs. When our unit is the installed in the ceiling, as the if the room is too high. As we note, the cold air is the more higher than the normally the airs. So this part, the temperature is the more less than this part. And normally we activity in this path. So we can imagine this if we set the set point is the 25 degrees and the return error. So the sensor is here. It's in the units. When the return error is reached the 25 degrees, the below the temperature for this part normally is the less than the 25 degrees, and normally we will have the 2 or 3 degrees difference. So when you set the 25 degrees, but the real temperature in here is the less than it, maybe you will feel the feel cold. So maybe you have some feel strange. Why you use the other brand air condition to set the 25 degrees is feel the comfort. Why you use Midea the air condition we set the 25 is feel really cold. So to avoid these situations, we had the follow me function in our controller. When you use these functions, the unit didn't read the sensor of the units. They will read the sensor in the wire controller. As the wire controller normally installed in the near the height of the peoples. So here this area, the temperature will be the more the close to the feelings of the peoples. Since we had a lot of the sensor and the press controls, for the V6 we can have the more the pressure air temperature controls can accurate to the 0.5 degrees adjustments. Here is the here we have CFD to show what is the gen air float distribution simulations. Let me see how to. Okay, wait a moment. Let me see how to the. Okay. Let me see the simulation for the air flow distributions. We can see here is our supply air distributions. The air flow will in the top of the peoples, so we avoid the dilator to face the supply airs. So if we can make our the feeling is more comfort. If the supply air is down like there, is down like there. If the supply air is the down like there, if here is a person, they will they should be face the supply air directly. This is the let us feeling not good. So our gen air will avoid the face the dilator the people. So we only had this part in these areas, and this. And this part is for the temperature distribution. This for the we have avoided dilator supply air to face peoples but our temperature, the change will be very smooth to the occupy the rooms. So you can feel it's more the comfort. We also call this air is like the natural winds. Natural. We also call this the natural winds. Sorry, natural. We also call this sun air is like the natural winds. It's more the comfort and the soft. Okay, this function is for the Dr. M. Dr. M is not a software, also not a function. This is we get a glue names. For the document, we had the different functions, and just like we had the dialog box, and we also had the software to the detect the systems. We also can have the some customized function like the refrigerant charge and the refrigerant detectors. All the function we get a name for to call a Dr. M. M means the ideal. And the first part is like the small PCB functions. We can install a smaller PCB in the outdoor units. Yeah, if you can make it more convenient and easy to track the detail of the outdoor units. When the outdoor unit has some errors, you don't need to open the outdoor unit to check. You can select this small path to check what the errors show and what's the happen in this small path. And as the small part will the signal to the my PCBs, so we can select the small part to check the sections and check the data sections. We also can download the data of the outdoor units from these parts, and also can set different modes and different function in from this small part. This is very function and convenience. And for the real-time refrigerant amount of monitors, this function is we select the temperature and the pressure of the refrigerants can be the real-time monitors, the outdoor unit, the refrigerants. We monitor the refrigerant amount to ensure the unit and consistence had a good performance. And for the software, we had the diagnostic software. This software we can compare with the V6 and the V4 Plus. And we can easy to get the parameter of the systems from this software. We can get the T2, T2B or the TA, and the different values of the values of the EXV or different values. We can also treat the fourth sextants in the one by one for the outdoor size the control page. We can use this software to the to achieve the on-off controls and the mode setting or the fan speed controls and the host system monitor, and we can record the error codes and plate codes, and we can download the history data, and we can see the region sequence diagram and the parameters, and okay, the next part is the main features of the V6. For the main features, we had a divide to the 4 points. The first point is the easy installation and the service. For the easy installation, we had out jackson. For the service, we had the flexible piping and the loadable PCB and the triple configurations. And the second point is for the high reliables, the refrigerant cooling PCB and the 4-stage oil controls and the duty cycle or the double backcast. And the third part is for the enhanced comfort, the slider technology and the priority mode selections. And the special solutions for different applications, just like the high speed of the outdoor unit and the automatical refrigerant charge or the auto snow blowing or the auto desk cleaning or have the heavy engine collections. Okay, let's go through this part one by one. The first one is the auto adjustings. For the VRF systems, normally we have so many indoor units in one system. So we should get each address for the each indoor units. In the older generations, we should set each indoor units one by one. It's really waste time and a lot of work. But for the V6, we had auto adjustment. You just select this function in the outdoor unit. You didn't need to set any address in the indoor unit. You can select the X63 is switch dialog to set the auto adjusting modes. And normally we will the factory will the default set the auto adjusting. So if you need if you don't need to the menu the adjusting, just click the default. And the second is for the flexible piping connections. For this part, we get the full directions, the power for the full direction of the piping connections. We get more the flexible connect different size of the installation place. And the PCB, we use the loadables. As our unit had so many PCBs, and when our unit more compact, so we had use the second late PCB designs. For the second late, it's the more easy to reach the second late, thanks to the loadable designs. It's made the maintenance is more easier. And for the triple configurations, we can setting different function or the natural address or the BMS from the style switch in the outdoor unit PCB. We can also select from the wire controller or the sensor controller. We also can set them from the gateways like BMX or the BMS systems IM or IM Pros. It is a very greatly simplified installations and commissioning and serving. Here, This table is show the different ways can set the different functions. For the dialog switch button on the PCB of the auto unit, you can set all the functions, like the standing pressure or the auto mode or the start under time, and the auto unit track all the functions you can select by the dialog switch of the auto unit's PCB. And the wire controller. And the wire controller, you can set only the here 3 paths. It's the F or C, the temperature unit setting, or track the history area code. You can track the history area code only, so the wire controller will show the history area codes. And for the centralized controller, you can setting the mode function than the wire controller, just like the priority mode or the slider mode, or the auto power the state mode, just like the meta. Meta we had the measure before is the flow flow the amplities. And IM Pro can set the send function as the centralized controller. As the centralized controller has the send level in the light BMS. They are the send level in the controller sequence. And for the higher reliables, is the we adapt to the W size refrigerant the pipes to code the electric box. Compared with other blends, the other blends normally use the single usage to code the electric box temperature. We use the W to make sure that the PCB is in a stable and control the situations and enhance the reliabilities. And for the V6, we code the PCB is the air code. For the V6 Plus or the V6. The air code compared with the refrigerant coolings. The refrigerant cooling that will can get the more 5 to 8 degree less, or we say lower than the air code. So the refrigerant cooling the PCB will have made our PCB is more stable and reliable than the air code. And this part is for the oil control. As we know, the oil control is very important in our VRF systems. If the control is not good, the compressors will easy to break down. We had the 4 stage. The first stage is the uniquely the oil separations in the pressures. The first stage is in the compressors. As you know that we use the famous brands compressors, Hitachi. He is the famous brand in the world. And the second stage is use the high efficiency oil separator. Here is the separator. And the third stage is the balance between the compressors in one the auto units. These 2 compressors, they can balance the oils. And the fourth stage is we have the smart logics built in the intelligent chip. This is the built-in the logical. So it totally had the 4 stage oil control to measure our compressor and the outdoor unit can run the more reliable. And the other high reliable function is the duty cyclings. The duty cycling means the when a sequence had multiple units. In this, just like this, here this units in one sequence. When this sequence run in the partial demise, the first unit will keep running, and the middle one and the left one will stand by. And after 8 hours, the first one will turn to the standby, and the middle one will start, and the right and the left one still keep standby. And another 8 hours pass. The first one and the middle one will go to standby, and the last one will turn off. This is the cycling, the duty cycling in the partial demise. This function we can help our unit can have a long lifespans. And the double back counts. This function is the used for when one outdoor unit had multiple compressors. If in one unit, here one compressor broadcast, we can make this unit running only in one compressor. So this is very useful. When one compressor is broadcast and the rest one we can keep running, can make sure that our systems have keep running and make sure the base cooling and the heating. And for the multiple outdoor units, when one outdoor unit breakdowns, we can keep the less outdoor unit running to make sure the base cooling and the heating. And if this unit is the same mode, we can also remove one of the compressor to the broken ones. As the module backcounts, we not sure the and in the partial demise, we not sure whether the compressors had a duty cycle or the duty cycle in the units. So we can think about this. And the enhanced converse. For the enhanced converse, we had over the 10 levels, 9 slide modes. For the 9 slide mode, we can only control the fan for the 9 modes. We can only control the fan speed to limit the noise. For the super slide modes, we both control the fan speed and the frequency of the compressors to limit the noise to meet the highest silent requirements. And we also can set the in the schedules of each days for the super silo mode or the night silo mode. We can set different times for each day, just like 6 hours or 8 hours or 10 hours. You can select the ENC5 dial switch to select the different slide mode and the slide mode the during times. You can select the 6 hours or 8 hours to the 10 or the 12 hours. And the last part is for the mode settings. We had the 5 priority mode settings. The first one is the default one, is the auto priorities. What is the auto priorities? Later we will get detailed instructions. The cooling priorities and the heat. This one and the cooling only mode, it has some difference. The cooling only mode it means when you had the just like this outdoor unit and connect to the indoor unit 1 and indoor unit 2. This is the outdoor unit. If select the cooling only, this means the indoor unit only can run the cooling mode. And if you select the cooling mode priorities, that is means when I turn off the indoor unit 1 firstly, and it will run cooling. This one is the turn off and set firstly, and this one they will only can go cooling. They should follow the first ones. And if this one I set heating, and the second one only can run the heating. This is the cooling priorities. Oh, sorry, it's not correct. If let me explain again. If you set the cooling priorities, when the first one unit turn off and set cooling mode, the second indoor unit only can run the cooling mode. When the first unit had run the heating, this one is turn on the firstly and turn on the heating mode, and then I turn off the second unit in the cooling mode, and then the outdoor unit will run the cooling mode. So the first one can run the heating mode. They will stand by or run cooling mode, follow the second ones. This is the cooling mode priorities. There is the big difference with the cooling only. And the cooling only is the same the heating mode only. That is means the sectors only can run the heating mode. And the auto mode priority and the VIP mode priority, we can have detailed introductions. For the auto priority mode, this is the default setting by the factory. That is means I had one outdoor unit. Sorry. Outdoor unit. I had 1, 2 indoor unit. When the indoor unit sitting auto mode, the outdoor unit sit auto mode. The outdoor unit will keep to run the auto mode, and the outdoor unit will detect the ambient temperature. When the ambient temperature is over to the 18 degrees, so the indoor unit will follow the outdoor unit to run the cooling mode. If the ambient temperature is less than the 13 degrees, the outdoor unit will run the heating mode, and the indoor side will run the heating mode as well. If the temperature during the 13 degrees and 18 degrees, they will have another logical to decide what mode they runs. This is the auto mode priorities. For the VIP or the volt priority, that means the VIP, the default address is the 16 series. It means that when you set a VIP indoor unit, whatever how many indoor unit in the seconds and what's the most the other outdoor the indoor unit want to runs, they all should be follow the VIP. That is means all the indoor units should be follow the VIP indoor units. And if you forget to set the VIP address, if you forget to set the VIP indoor unit, let me imagine this here have the 5 piece indoor units, and then you forget to set the VIP address, and the wolf priority will work. And here have 5 indoor units. If the 3 unit in heating mode and 2 units sitting in the cooling mode, as you not set the address at the VIP address, so the priority function will work, and all the indoor unit will follow the heating mode. Why? Because the most of the number of the indoor unit run in the heating mode. So after the rest, the indoor unit should follow the most of the number of the indoor unit. So these 2 units will stand by or change to run the heating mode for the most of the number of the indoor unit. This is the priority functions. We can set the priority mode from the S5 dialog switch. We can have the different totally the 5 priority mode setting. We can also check our sequence in which modes from the indoor unit LEDs can set what is the priority mode setting in the outdoor unit from the indoor size. And the next function is the power limitations. For some projects or some the locations with the temporarily the electric supply the restrictions, the V6 we can set the output limitation from the 40% to the 100% to measure the cooling and heatings. And also when a city or a country they have a peak and slow the power consumptions, this function is very useful. When the price of the power cost is too high, we can set the power limitation. And when the price of the electric is decreased, or we can say the price in the slows, we can unlimited our unit output, just like that. In some city or some countries, the price of the electric power is flow. It means there is the 10 USD for each kWh, and here is only the 3 USD for kWh. So when the city or country had this peak and load power consumptions, we can in the peak to set the competitive output limitations to say the cost, and in the low the price to unlimited our competitive outputs. When we set the competitive output, we should make sure our heating and cooling in the meet the base requirements. Is another applications, and normally this function is used for the temporary electricity supply the restrictions. We can select different limitation modes from the dial switch of the PCB from the N41 to the N47. And the next part is the 3 ways to achieve the power limitation settings. The first ones, we can select the power limitation from the PCB of the outdoor unit. And the second ways, we can set the power limitation of the centralized controller. Our centralized controller 10.1 centralized controller. This auto energy saving is it means whether you open the methods, whether you open the meta functions. The meta function, just the method is there is the float evaporating temperature functions, and the ECO is means the power limitation settings. Here is the ECO is means the power limitation settings. Here this function is the very near, but here is the name is the more close, but the function is the big difference. The auto energy saving is to depend whether open the meta functions. The meta function is the float evaporating functions, and the ECO is to set the power limitations outputs. And the third way is the through the IM plot software settings. That is same the centralized controller. Yes, the outdoor energy saving is the meta function, and the power restriction mode is for the power limitations. This should be pay more attention to. This the two big difference between these settings. And multiple the customization options. The first one is for the high ESP of the outdoor units. As our V6 is the torque discharge. So when our unit is installed in the strict high place, so ensure our had a sufficient airflow and a good air exchange. we provide up to the 113 pascals, so you can connect to the mass to 24 meters dark work. To conduct the airflow to the outside, to measure the outdoor unit can have a good heat exchange. The other function is the automatic refrigerant charge. As you know that our VRF always be a big project. They had so many indoor units. So the default recharge the refrigerant is normally it is not enough. So in the most of the times we should get a addition recharge when we had the install or the sequence. And normally we calculate how many the refrigerant charge should be by the calculate by the humans, but this way is not very correct, and it's very compressors and not very precious. So we had applied the automatic refrigerant charge. This function is very useful and convenience. You only need to connect the refrigerant tanks to the outdoor units, and in the PCB of the outdoor unit to set the automatic refrigerant charge. And when the whole circuit run normal, and stable, that is means the pressure had no any change. This means the outer refrigerant charge is down, so you can quickly remove the refrigerant tank and tie the pipes. Is the order process of the automatic refrigerant charge. Another customization options is the auto snowing blowing functions. I think this function may use this is the fuel tank used in the Latin Americans. And this function it means when had the snow days, the snow will accumulate in the top size, so we will let our unit have a better heat exchange. So we should remove the snows. They will have the outdoor snow blowing functions. When they detect the airflows, the pressures, the pressure for the air outlet is too big. This function will activate to remove the snows. And other customization options is the auto desk cleaning functions. I think the dessert is not very common in the Latin Americans, so this function may use not very common. This function is called self decrease. This means that normally the unit running is in these directions. They run these directions, and the dark and the darks will be the opposite in the in the coil. So if the fans had the back directions running, so this dark will be blown out. So this is the dark cleaner function principles. And the last one, customization function, is the heavy anti-collections. I think this function is very useful and common for the Latin American markets as they near the oceans. The ending collection term is standard. We can have for all the parts and the electric components, just like the fan motor and the electric bolts. Not only these parts, for the screw and the bugs on the casting, or the metals, or the base, or the cover sticks, we can all get the heavy anti collections. Of course, the heat exchanger is very important part. So we also can hit the heat heavy anti collections for this pass. We also get the UL certificates for the anti collections. Our anti collections chairmen can get the UV certificates. Okay, this is all my presentation for the V6 introductions. If you have any questions, you can mute the microphone to tell me directly, or you can let the message in the chat box. So I will check the chat box